Hello, hi, it is fall, and I thought I would talk about fire safety because we do have like all the pine needles in the world. So I need to burn them to get rid of them. There's not any real other practical way to get rid of huge quantities of pine needles and branches. So, I mean, out here, it is a permissive burn day. I have checked, I have a permit. I have cleared the area, of all vegetation as recommended, well, as required by the permit for Mariposa County. So I'm going to be doing that in a moment. I also want to show you something I've been doing to clear brush and talk about ladder fuels, other, wildfire safety things. And here in California, it's a huge concern. We've had a couple of close calls in the past few years. So fire safety is incredibly important, and doing it right and keeping you and your property safe to when you have an opportunity to get rid of fuels that are downed pine needles, down branches, brush clearing, that kind of thing. Let's talk about that. Something I was working on the other day involves both something called ladder fuels, which is something that can come from the ground. If there's a fire in the ground, it'll travel right up and cause an incredibly dangerous crown fire that's very hard to put out. So you always want to trim up your trees and any brush that you can away from your house so that, again, the fire can't just climb right up and cause a giant fire, make it worse. So I've trimmed up the bottom branches on these pines. And near the cottage where we were filming Manos, and yeah, it's a mess right now. I need to do some cleanup. I'm just temporarily got some stuff outside because I need to do some inside stuff, and then I'll put the stuff back. Anyway, yes, it's messy. I know. Ignore that. But near here, right there, there's always been this really nice manzanita that is kind of a big, beautiful specimen manzanita, and I've started clearing away, not only for fire safety, trimming up all these little branches, but also because this is a really particularly beautiful specimen manzanita. It's huge. So I've actually, let me back up a second here. There was a dog run here. I've taken the gate off. Actually, the board was just rotten, so I just pulled it right out of the ground. And I'm going to remove the rest of this fence because it just looks junky. I don't need it right now. I don't anticipate having a dog that I need to keep in a pen. So I'm just going to take all this out of here, because like the house is right there. So we can see this beautiful manzanita. It's absolutely huge. Here's one small branch. You can see the size of it. The base, the bottom branches down there are probably, I don't know, 8 inches across. I mean, it's absolutely huge. So I want to get rid of this dead stuff. Once again, ladder fuels, check it out. And I can cut this for firewood, but also fire safety. There's a huge amount of poison oak in here, which has lost its leaves. And here, this is unfortunately, I'm not going to touch it, but you can see it's about 1 inch thick. It's been let go too long. It's unfortunate. So I have to somehow get this thicket of poison oak out of here so that we can actually see this beautiful specimen manzanita. I'll put the species that it is up on the screen there. And there's a couple little live oaks. I think probably that one may have to go. But I've got a baby black oak here and a baby live oak here that I am going to leave. This is kind of a neat thing where it's like this branch has come onto this branch. It's kind of holding it up, and they kind of become little partners at this point, this black oak and this manzanita. It's kind of fun. So, but I'm going to get this old dog shed out of here. I may move it, make it a chicken coop. I don't know. I mean, you don't ever really throw anything out completely on on a ranch. I mean, you should, but this is well built and it's in fine condition. So I'm just going to repurpose this. Maybe it's a generator shed. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I'm going to move it away from here so we can really enjoy that great manzanita there. So in the course of trimming out the dead stuff from that manzanita, the manzanitas will often, the under branches just die naturally. they become very brittle. They're very easy to break. So I just basically grab branches and just snap them off so I could kind of get in there. But now I've got, you know, a million of these dead manzanita branches, and they will burn like absolute crazy. So I want to pull from that pile and bring them over here and, you know, get a little fire started and then start putting branches on. It's not windy, which is very important. You don't want wind to blow sparks where you don't want them. I've got the ground cleared around here. I've got, in case I get too hot, I brought another shirt up here, just so I don't have to go all the way to the house and leave the fire unattended if I get too hot and uncomfortable. I have a spare shirt. I've got a piece of newspaper and a lighting thing. I light, you know, one of these lighters. My gloves here, just to keep my hands safe from splinters and uncomfortableness. I've got a rake, a pitchfork. I've got a hose with water just in case. You're supposed to have all those things handy, especially a water hose nearby, and implements to put out a fire if something should start. So I'm gonna just clear, you know, 10 feet around this center bit here. Go down to bare earth is what they say to do on the permit, so I'm going to do that. So that if a little spark pops out, it's not going to go, you know, over into some dry pine needles and start something over there that I then have to pay attention to two fires. Super dangerous. I'm trying to avoid getting any rocks in here. There's a few little pieces of gravel, that's kind of unavoidable. But large rocks, especially in fall, can have moisture inside them, which can then release when they heat up. So you could have shards of rock popping out of the fire. They could hit you, other people nearby. They could fly out and be very hot and start a, you know, like a spark almost, start a fire. So make sure there's no big rocks in here that could, you know, pop when they get hot and cause a problem. There is a little bit of a breeze, so I want to kind of pay attention to that, but it's a permissive burn day, so it should be fine. And you can see how very quickly that started up. That's one little piece of newspaper, and look at how those pine needles are already starting to catch. Oop, and I'm going to move the camera back. But it goes up very quickly, which is why this is such a huge fire hazard. We have just acres and acres of pine needles everywhere, so I have some of that manzanita I showed you in there. It's already getting hot. I'm backing up. I have a chair ready. I've got, you know, my hose ready and my pitchfork. I like to use a pitchfork to introduce air into the fire. Let's see, it's going to go this way. All right. Because pine needles sometimes can smoke quite a lot, which is why they don't want you to burn wet anything because of the smoke, because of air quality. But if you can get that pitchfork in there, you can kind of, you know, tease some air down inside that pile, and it won't smoke so much. That's why I like to have a pitchfork, and also it's easy to just kind of skim along and pick up some stuff off the ground here. And I've started taking some orange spray paint to my handles just so I can find these things, because, I mean, you know, otherwise I would never see this brown handle out in the brown pine needles. And you can see how this is quickly growing. That's why you got to watch this. Oh, and the other thing too is that the permit states small piles. I think they've increased it to 5 feet across, but no more than 5 feet for safety. Because I mean, if you get to this giant bonfire, it can very quickly get out of hand. So that is getting hotter and hotter. I'm just backing up here. So that is the basics of doing a safe burn. I've got the pile from over here. I've got some trimming I was doing over here. I've got more pine needles. I've got another pile over here. So there's literally days and days of burning that needs to happen. And I actually need to put some more fuel on this so that it doesn't burn out. And I have to put more pine needles. I need to do branches and pine needles. Anyway, yeah, it's a long, hot job. That's why I started first thing in the morning. Yay. So you can see how it burns out to the edges, right? I mean, it's still kind of going. That's why they want nothing out here. I mean, there's a few little pine needles. It's fine, but that's why they say down to bare earth, because fire will creep out to the edges and kind of keep going and get away from you. So you have to really pay attention. And there's that pine needle smoke, which is why I use the pitchfork to get under there and introduce some air so it doesn't smoke so much. A couple things I like to do is make a kind of a lattice of branches, something with space under it with branches. So when you put the pine needles on, it doesn't just smother it and smoke. It kind of gives it some air underneath there, and it can go up and burn more efficiently. You can see you're still getting some smoke, but not like if you dumped a bunch of pine needles on top of there, you get clouds of green smoke. No one wants that. And then flammability. Dry branches are far more flammable than you think. I cut this, I don't know, like a few days ago, a week ago, and this manzanita about the same thing. Before I throw these on here and show you just how quick these go up, what I like to do is if there's any kind of prevailing breeze at all, I put the bigger end of the branch so that the fire burns toward the big end of the branch so that it will tend to burn faster. So anyway, here's some manzanita. Let's throw that on, see what it does. And I cut that, it's still a little green. I cut that like a week ago maybe, and look how quick that's already going up. Very, very dangerous. And then this again is some live oak that is a little bit brownish. Some of the leaves are starting to dry out, but it's still kind of green. I mean, it's so supple. I can't break this branch because it's still kind of got some moisture in it, but so it's drying. It's not dry. It's dry-ish. So let me put this guy on there. And then stand back. Now, can you imagine if that was truly dry or out in the middle of the woods somewhere? This fuel goes up very fast. You have to pay constant attention. Don't ever turn your back on a fire. There can be little pieces that pop out and can get you, or that can pop out into some dry stuff and cause a problem. And you can probably see some little leaves going up. As the leaves burn, it leaves some ash. And that's one of the problems we have with wildfires here, is that these partially burned leaves are carried up by the heat of the fire and can then go land somewhere nearby and start a spot fire. And that's very common. Especially manzanita has a very thick, robust leaf, and it can happen, and it does happen very commonly in wildfires. A couple more less than fun things related to brush piles. If you let them sit, they can attract wood rats. They love to make nests in slash piles and brush piles, so get rid of them quickly so you don't have rats. That's a thing. You can see how I'm doing the pine needles here, just a little at a time. And the other thing too, don't burn poison oak and poison ivy. It can have oil in it that even the smoke from those plants, you know how they cause rashes and can make you itch? Well, the smoke can too. And if you get the smoke from poison oak branches on a burn pile into your eyes, you can get poison oak in your eyes, which can actually blind you. So be very careful to separate out anything like that so it doesn't accidentally end up in your burn pile. While I was digging through this brush pile, I discovered a piece of old tarp. Be careful, it should go without saying, but yeah, be careful you don't burn plastics. Anything that isn't burnable or shouldn't be burned, please don't burn it, because this releases chemicals into the air. It can actually harm flying creatures like bees, butterflies, birds. Make sure you pull this stuff out of here if you find it in a burn pile. Plastic wrappers, bottles, any of that, just, pull that out of there. But the other thing too is I've been doing a lot of this cutting with this pole saw, and it's an electric pole saw. And I've been getting in there under this great manzanita. I need to get some more chains. Manzanita will dull a chain very quickly, as I said in my other video about firewood. So yeah, I super need new chains. But anyway, I was getting into the back of here to clear all this out with this guy, and this is an extendable electric chainsaw. But electric, why electric? Because you know what? I am so done with things that require fuel that cannot be stored easily, that goes bad, that clogs carburetors, that has a choke that you have to fuss with. Yeah, I kind of super hate gas chainsaws. Plus they're heavy. Plus they're noisy. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. So yesterday, and we'll stop off and throw another couple branches on here. Yesterday, we went to Harbor Freight and got a 16-inch corded electric chainsaw that is light enough for me to handle, doesn't require screwing around with fuel and mixes, and why is this not working? So I'm going to unbox this and try it out because I have been wanting one of these for a very long time. Huzzah! Okay, let's see what we got here. And the fire's right there. I'm not leaving the fire. To quote the Incredibles, was it Dash Bar, I guess it would be, I'm not leaving the cave. I'm not leaving the fire. I'm just going to unbox this right here. Oh, and by the way, I love this utility knife. It's like got a regular utility knife blade that's replaceable. It's a lock back. Oops, come on, get in there. There we go. Clicks into place. It's a lock back with a belt clip. And I use it a lot. If you were on set with me for Manos, you saw this on my belt or on my pocket like the entire time because it's like 1,000,001 uses. So let's see what we got here. Bonus unboxing. Why, yes. Yep, that's a chainsaw, all right. Let's see here. The question is, how am I going to get it out of the box? The bar is sticking way out. Let's see if I can just pull it. I think this is working. Just pull it out. Is it? I know what. I'll remove that. There we go. Instructions. Fold this up so I don't cut myself. And what else is in here? Mystery package. Sample of bar oil. That's very nice. Again, I have like a whole big old gallon jug of it over there because I use it a lot. But yeah, it's nice to have chainsaw, pole saw, cutting oil. Thank you. Lovely. So I got that. Some instructions, owner's manual, and safety instructions. And as I just showed you on the other one, I tie the cord in a knot to itself. I'll show you that in just a second here. Important. Oil. Check bar oil. Yes, very important. You don't want to destroy your new saw without having enough bar oil in there. Let's see. There's the oil cap. It's got little window here showing you how much oil you have in it so you don't run dry, ideally. You can put a cord through here if it's a thin enough cord. Kickback guard. Yeah, you know, it's a beefy, him a beefy boy, but it's not so heavy that I couldn't use this for, you know, an hour or something. It's got your bucking teeth here. What you can do is kind of use those to grip into a log and kind of scissor your way down so it doesn't pop out of there. It makes it really nice and easy. It grabs on to your log so you can cut it more easily. And I may need wire cutters for that. Let me see if my knife will do it, though, to get this guard off of here. Ah, there we go. Comes with the chain right on it. And I'll read the directions on how to replace the chain. But yeah, there we go. Low kickback. Looks nice. Okay, I've got my heavy duty cord over here, and I don't think that's realistically going to fit through this bottom hole they provide you for this cord hook. I don't even think it's going to fit around the cord. I mean, kind of, but So I'm just going to tie a knot and do it that way. Let's see, big ends. There we go. Okay, and this is plugged in up at the other house. Nice and heavy duty. I put oil in. I've read the instructions. You've read the instructions, right? Always read the instructions fully so you understand how this works. This is not a toy, as it says in the instructions. Check your tension. That looks good. It basically snaps back into place. There's no sag. If it's too loose, it can come off the bar and, you know, damage your machine or you. So make sure the tension is correct. There's a way to open this so that you can, you know, get in here and change the chain, adjust the tension, all that stuff. I've got my oil. Yeah, I've got my oil in here. And then here's my kickback safety. So, okay, so there are two disadvantages to electric chainsaws. 2.5. One, make sure this cord is nowhere near the blade of the saw. I know that sounds super obvious, but when you're in it and doing stuff and maybe not quite paying attention, tragedy can occur. You do not want to cut a live electrical wire with a metal chainsaw. Disaster, obviously. Yeah, enough said about that. The other thing, depending on the length of your cord, that's how far you have away from a power source to be able to use it. You can't just take this out into the woods and cut up a tree someplace. So this is best for home use. Smaller people, such as myself, have a benefit of the lighter weight electric. So, you know, I'm going to be only using this at home anyway. It's fine. There's some stuff down in there that I really want to trim. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to move the generator down there? Do I want to add a second other big robust cord, which you really shouldn't do, just because you have so much energy loss through the length of the cord that it starts to, you know, not be as powerful. But again, this is a 14.5 amp saw. This is a more than adequate size of a cable for it. I could probably add another 50 foot onto the end of this of the same gauge, and it'd probably be fine. I have this in the disengaged position because this acts as a brake. If it's like that, that means there's been kickback and it stops the saw. Like this means it guards your hand, but it's ready to be engaged. Here's the thumb switch and the trigger. Let's see what it do. Make sure you're always standing on steady ground. You're not like standing on like something that might go out from under your feet as you're using this. I am going to have to adjust the tension of this as I work, which I'm not going to do because that's boring. No one wants to see me read an instruction manual or adjust saw blade tension. So I trust I don't need to explain that. Let's see how we do. Get this out from under my feet. Half and half. Here we go. This is substantially more powerful than the 10-inch pole saw. I can tell you that right now. But made quick work of that. But it's so powerful that it moved the log unexpectedly, so that's why I disengaged. I'm like, okay, what's going on with that log? Can I cut that safely? Gently went back in, it stabilized, it was okay. Yeah, thirds is just about right. I think I'll move this out. So that'll drop off. Make sure that's good and sturdy. Because as I've just learned, that has got a lot of pull on it compared to my other one. So about there. And this should be alright because this is, you know, 16-inch bar, standard bar. going to split this? Yes, yes I am. It's cedar, it'll split easily. There's already a pretty decent crack going on here. So I'm going to try and hit that. This is a problem, but it might just split anyway without that. Let's see what it do. Ha! Look at that. It did it. Yay, log. Now I'm gonna go to quarters because that's obviously. I mean, yeah, I could manage to shove that in my stove. I'm not gonna. Ah, beautiful. Look at that. Now that ain't gonna split. That ain't gonna split in a million years. So I'm gonna turn it over, and there's a crack right there. I bet I can get it on this side and have 4 nice pieces of firewood. Maybe not. Let's see. I think I just hit it badly. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, what is this? It is a 8-pound splitting maul. Whew. Okay, so that is my exciting vintage homestead video involving some homestead, definitely less in the vintage department. I also have eyes on my fire over there. Never lose sight of your fire. Don't turn your back on it. It's right there. You know, if you want more exciting information like this, like on fire safety, how to use a chainsaw, possibly eventually recipes, because, you know, the holidays are coming up, then like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you are in fact notified that I've made a new video, and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see me cover. Should I burn more things? That's always fun. Just let me know what you'd like me to cover on my little tiny, well, not really a show, but, you know, between when I do other actual shows, I do this. And I teach and I do a lot of things. But anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time on Willow's Vintage Homestead.